Hi, this is Dr. Swarup Datta. Subscribe my channel and click on the bell icon for the most recent updates.
Hello students, today we're going to talk about a very important and interesting tense, that is the future. कहा जाता है कि फ्यूचर किसने देखा है? हम लोग भले ही फ्यूचर ना देखे हो, लेकिन फ्यूचर टेंस को तो देख सकते हैं ना. तो इट्स वेरी सिंपल. मैं आज आपको 3 फॉर्मूला देने वाला हूँ सिंपल फ्यूचर टेंस का. लेकिन सिर्फ सिंपल फ्यूचर टेंस नहीं, देयर आर अदर टेंसेस which are also used to denote the future. For example, if you remember, I taught you while covering the simple present tense that at times simple present tense can also denote the future. Now there are different forms also of simple future tense or talking about the future in fact. For example, going to, about to, be to. So these are different forms. Now don't get confused with all these forms. Let's start with easier things first, that is the simple future tense. Now if you remember 3 simple formula of simple future tense, you will never forget it. तो मैं आपको आज ये 3 सिंपल फॉर्मूला बताने वाला हूँ और उसको ध्यान से सुनो. और अगर आप इसको याद रख सकते हो तो आपको फ्यूचर टेंस में कभी गलती नहीं होने वाला है. The rule number 1 is things that are going to happen in the future but we really cannot control those things. तो ऐसा कुछ जो भविष्य में होने वाला है लेकिन उस पर अपना कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है. सो दैट इज द फर्स्ट एग्जाम्पल और फर्स्ट रूल फॉर सिंपल फ्यूचर टेंस. नाउ आई विल गिव यू फ्यू एग्जांपल्स. फॉर एग्जांपल, आई शैल बी 20 नेक्स्ट सैटरडे. तो अगले शनिवार को मैं 20 का होने वाला हूं. सो वी कैन नॉट कंट्रोल इट. मैं अगर चाहूं भी तो इसको रोक नहीं सकता ना. सैटरडे आएगा तो मैं 20 का हो ही जाऊंगा. So when people talk in this language or in this form, this is called a simple future tense form and talking about things that we cannot change. Second example you want? Okay, second example we can think about it will be Diwali in a week. एक हफ्ते में दिवाली आने वाला है. तो हम लोग जब इसके बारे में भी बात करते हैं कि एक हफ्ते में दिवाली आने वाला है तो हम लोग उसको रोक नहीं सकते हैं, वो आ ही जाएगा अगले हफ्ते. So that is what we are talking about, things that are going to happen in the future and we really cannot stop it, right? Rule number 2. The rule number 2 is more of the way we normally use the future tense. For example, what we think or believe is going to happen in the future. तो हम लोग जो सोचते हैं कि होने वाला है, तो फ्यूचर हमने देखा नहीं तो हम लोग सिर्फ सोच के या अंदाजा लगा के बोल सकते हैं फ्यूचर के बारे में, राइट? So whatever we think is going to happen or whatever we believe is going to happen, that is rule number 2. For example, let's say I think India will win the match. तो मुझे ये लगता है कि इंडिया मैच जीतेगा. मैच अभी हुआ नहीं, इट्स फ्यूचर, राइट? तो मुझे क्या लग रहा है मैं वो बता रहा हूं. I think India will win the match. या फिर ऐसे भी बोल सकते हैं I am sure Rohit will get first class. I'm sure that Rohit will get first class. तो रोहित को फर्स्ट क्लास आया नहीं अभी, लेकिन मुझे पक्का मालूम है कि उसको होने वाला है. That's what I firmly believe. So what I think or what I believe is rule number 2. Rule number 3 is when we decide to do something at the time of speaking, right? For example, it is raining outside. I will take an umbrella. So I will take an umbrella. यहाँ पर will लगा हुआ है, तो will लगा हुआ है मतलब ये फ्यूचर का बात कर रहे हैं. मैं अम्ब्रेला एक छतरी लेके निकलूंगा या निकलने वाला हूं. So when I'm talking about in future terms, but I am telling things that I have decided right now. For example, I can see that you are busy. Okay, I will wait. तो मैं देख सकता हूं कि आप बिजी हो. Okay, ठीक है, मैं इंतजार करूंगा. तो ये जो फॉर्म है, this is the third form of simple future tense. So what are the 3 forms for a quick revision? First one, things that we cannot control. Number 2, things that we believe or what we think is going to happen. And number 3, something that we decide at that moment when we are speaking. तो ये 3 फॉर्मूला आप याद रखिए और फ्यूचर टेंस will become very easy for you, right? Next, we are going to talk about a very interesting form of the future. That is the going to form. तो ये going to form होता क्या है या फिर इसको कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं? इसका भी बहुत सिंपल सा 3 रूल है. First rule, when I have decided something and my preparation is also done, we can use the going to form. For example, if someone asks me, have you decided what to do? I can reply, yes, I am going to resign the job. तो मैं अपना नौकरी से इस्तीफा देने वाला हूं. तो ये मेरा डिसीजन पक्का हो गया. पक्का क्यों हो गया? बिकॉज आई हैव डिसाइडेड, मैं मन बना लिया, मैं रिजाइन करने वाला हूं. और दूसरा जो है वो है कि मेरा रिजाइन करने के बाद का जो प्रिपरेशन है वो भी हो चुका है. दैट मीन्स व्हाट? आइदर आई हैव फाउंड माई सेल्फ अ गुड जॉब और आई हैव डिसाइडेड टू ओपन अ बिजनेस. सो माई डिसीजन एज वेल एज प्रिपरेशन बोथ हैव बीन डन. Now another question, for example, if you take, why are you selling your motorbike? I can say, I am going to buy a car. तो मैं एक कार खरीदने वाला हूं. तो इसमें क्या है? दो चीज है फिर से. मेरा डिसीजन टू बाय अ कार एंड द प्रिपरेशन टू बाय अ कार. प्रिपरेशन क्या था? कि मुझे जो पैसा चाहिए गाड़ी खरीदने के लिए, या मुझे कौन सा गाड़ी खरीदना है, कौन सा मॉडल खरीदना है, ये सारा चीज का डिसीजन, इसका प्रिपरेशन. हो सकता है मैं दुकान में जाके विजिट भी करके आ गया, देख के कौन सा गाड़ी मुझे चाहिए, तो तब मैं बताऊंगा आई एम गोइंग टू बाय अ कार. सो अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग, द फर्स्ट रूल ऑफ गोइंग टू फॉर्मूला इज कि जब आपका डिसीजन और प्रिपरेशन दोनों हो जाए तो गोइंग टू यूज होगा. बट सिंपल फ्यूचर टेंस में क्या होता है? आप इंस्टेंट डिसीजन लेते हो. जैसे इट्स रेनिंग आउटसाइड, आई विल टेक एन अम्ब्रेला. नो, ये पहले से अपना प्रिपरेशन बना के नहीं रखा था कि बाहर बारिश होने वाली है, फिर मैं छतरी लूंगा, और या फिर छतरी का रंग देख के, कलर देख के आपने चुन के रखा हुआ है. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. इट्स ऑल ऑफ अ सडन दैट यू आर डिसाइडिंग बिकॉज इट इज रेनिंग, आई विल गो आउट, सो आई विल टेक एन अम्ब्रेला. सो दिस इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ सिंपल फ्यूचर टेंस एंड when you are using the going to form. I hope it's clear to you. Going to form, decision pakka, preparation done. Simple future tense, you are deciding something instantly, on the spot, and talking about it. This was the going to form first rule. Now, what is the rule number 2 to use the going to form of the future? Rule number 2 says that if there is something in the present that tells about the future, that what is going to happen, you can use the going to form. For example, it's going to rain, look at those clouds. It's going to rain, look at those clouds. तो clouds अभी बना हुआ है, बादल अभी छाया हुआ है, बारिश हुई नहीं है, लेकिन बारिश आने वाला है ये पक्का हम लोग बता सकते हैं ये बादल को देख के. So when we see the clouds and we tell that it is going to rain, that is something in the present is talking about the future. Or let's say another way we can talk about it. Let's say the boat is full of water. It is going to sink. जो नाव है उसमें पानी भर चुका है और वो डूबने वाला है. ये तो एक बच्चा भी बता सकता है ना कि क्या होने वाला है. अगर आपका नाव जो है वो बीच दरिया में है, उसमें पानी भर चुका है, तो ऑब्वियस है कि वो डूबेगा, राइट? सो दीज आर थिंग्स दैट वी talk about the future by seeing things that is happening in the present, right? So just think, if you can think of another such example where you can see something in the present and predict the future. Let's say you are not studying, you are going to fail. Again, the simple thing, right? You are not studying, and because you are not studying, obviously you will fail. So that is again something that is happening in the present, and you are going to talk about the future. You are talking about the future using the going to form. Now come to rule number 3. Rule number 3 says we can also use going to when something is just about to happen. For example, Diwali में पटाखा फोड़ते हो, तो you have lit the matchstick and you have applied the fire, to the cracker, and it is just about to explode. So what you can say? You can say things like, look at the cracker, it is going to explode. It is going to explode, मतलब अभी फटने वाला है, वहां से हट जाओ. या फिर let's board the train, it is going to leave. We say let's get into the train, it is going to leave. तो आओ ट्रेन के अंदर घुस जाते हैं क्योंकि ट्रेन अभी छूटने ही वाली है. So when we use this form that something is just about to happen, we can use the going to form. So again, let's do a quick revision. So the first point is something that you have decided and the preparation is also done. For example, I am going to buy a car. So my decision to buy a car and the preparation to buy a car, both done. So this is the going to form. The next, rule number 2 क्या था? रूल नंबर 2 था समथिंग इन द प्रेजेंट दैट टेल्स अबाउट द फ्यूचर. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लुक एट दोस क्लाउड्स, इट इज गोइंग टू रेन. इट्स गोइंग टू रेन क्योंकि हम लोग समझ सकते हैं बादल को देख के कि काले बादल छाए हुए हैं और बारिश होने ही वाली है. एंड द थर्ड वन इज समथिंग दैट इज जस्ट अबाउट टू हैपन एंड इट्स लाइक इट्स टोल्ड लाइक एट द वर्ज ऑफ हैपनिंग. अब भी जस्ट होने वाला है, उस समय भी हम लोग गोइंग टू यूज कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लुक द क्रैकर इज गोइंग टू एक्सप्लोड. लुक, हम लोग देखो जल्दी से, वो फटाका फटने ही वाला है. सो बी केयरफुल. So these are the three conditions under which or in which we use the going to form. Easy, right? There is one more form that can be used to denote the future, or I would like to say the immediate future, जो अब भी होने वाला है और कुछ ही देर में होने वाला है. So one of those was going to form, जो हम लोग ने बात कर चुके हैं उसके बारे में. अभी दूसरा फॉर्म है about to form. Now we will take the same example. Let's get into the train, it is going to leave. ये हम लोग ने going to form में देखा. अभी उसको ही हम लोग going to को हटा के वहां पर about to को रिप्लेस करेंगे तो उसका मतलब सेम ही रहेगा, थोड़ा सा फॉर्म चेंज हो जाएगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, let's get into the train, it is about to leave. So instead of using going to form, we are using the about to form. The meaning remains same. Or we can say another one, take another example rather. वो example क्या है? Don't go out now, we are about to have lunch. तो ये कोई माँ अपने बेटे को कह रही है कि अभी बाहर मत जाओ, हम लोग लंच करने ही वाले हैं. We are about to have lunch. So this is also something that is going to happen in the immediate future. ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा कि आप बाहर मत जाओ, 2 घंटा बाद हम लोग लंच करेंगे. क्या बोल रही है वो बोल रहे हैं अभी बाहर मत जाओ, हम लोग बस लंच करने ही वाले हैं. सो इट्स अबाउट द इमीडिएट फ्यूचर. सो इमीडिएट फ्यूचर को डिनोट करने के लिए वी कैन यूज 2 फॉर्म्स. वन इज द गोइंग टू एंड द सेकेंड वन इज अबाउट टू. राइट. सो गोइंग टू एंड अबाउट टू, ये दोनों फॉर्म को हम लोग ने देख लिया. गोइंग टू का 3 रूल क्या क्या था वो हम लोग समझ लिए, और गोइंग टू का रिप्लेसमेंट अबाउट टू भी हो सकता है बहुत सारे केसेस में. हर केस में होगा क्या? लेट्स चेक इट आउट. We talked about the cracker, remember? Look, the cracker is going to explode. Can we say, look, the cracker is about to explode? Yes, we can, right? So we can, in most of the cases, replace going to with about to without changing the meaning. Asan hai, right? Can we use simple present tense to denote the future? Of course we can. We have already seen that when we were discussing about the present tense, right? Now, what are the conditions in which we can use simple present tense to denote the future? If you remember the rule was very simple. Whenever we talk about programs that are fixed or fixed timetables or schedules, we can use the simple present tense to denote the future. For example, the school opens on 1st of April. That means what? It is decided every year it is going to open on the 1st of April. So it's a part of the fixed timetable decided by the school authorities. So it is always opening on 1st of April every year. Next, the film starts at 6 p.m. and ends at 9 p.m. Again, a fixed schedule. जो मूवी है वो 6 बजे शुरू होने वाली है और 9 बजे खत्म होने वाली है. तो ये फिक्स्ड है. 6 से 9 का पिक्चर हम लोग बोलते थे, राइट? सो 6 से 9 का पिक्चर मतलब क्या है? इट स्टार्ट्स एट 6 and ends at 9. So again we are talking about the future, but because it happens like same thing over and over, हर दिन वो 6 बजे शुरू होती है और हर दिन वो 9 बजे एंड होती है, तो वो टाइम टेबल बन गया, एक फिक्स्ड प्रोग्राम बन गया. तो when talking about such cases, we can talk about the future using simple present tense. Can we use simple present tense in question form? Again, of course we can do it. How? Let's say, take an example. When does the next train leave for Mumbai? When does the next train leave for Mumbai? Mumbai के लिए अगला गाड़ी और अगली ट्रेन कब खुलेगी? So again, what the person has to do, he just has to check the timetable and tell when exactly is the schedule for the next train to leave for Mumbai. So again, we are talking about fixed schedules or fixed timetable. जो पहले से डिसाइड किया हुआ है, टाइम टेबल फिक्स है, चेंज नहीं होता है, हर रोज या रेगुलर इंटरवल में वही चीज बार बार एक ही समय पे होती है, उन केसेस में हम लोग फ्यूचर को बताने के लिए सिंपल प्रेजेंट टेंस का भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. नाउ लेट्स कम टू द केस नंबर 2. वी कैन यूज सिंपल प्रेजेंट टेंस इन सर्टेन क्लॉजेस. क्लॉज क्या है? अगर आपको वो कॉन्सेप्ट आपको याद नहीं, आप भूल गए या आपको मालूम नहीं है, मेरे पिछले वीडियोस में जाइए, अब वहां पर एक वीडियो आपको मिलेगा, द सेंटेंस, द फ्रेज एंड द क्लॉज. यू कैन गेट द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ क्लॉज वेरी क्लियर, राइट? वहां पर बहुत अच्छी तरह से क्लॉज क्या होता है मैंने वो आपको समझाया था. तो कुछ क्लॉजेस में हम लोग सिंपल प्रेजेंट टेंस यूज कर सकते हैं टू टॉक अबाउट द फ्यूचर. सो व्हाट आर दोज क्लॉजेस? These are clauses where these things are used or these words are used. If, unless, when, while, before, after, until, by the time and as soon as. तो ये जो सारे clauses है, जब भी हम लोग इन words का साथ कोई clause बनाएंगे, हम लोग simple present tense को future बताने के लिए इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. For example, I won't go out if it rains. अगर बारिश होगी तो मैं बाहर नहीं जाऊंगा. So it's a clause. If it rains, I will not go out. So what I'm telling, I'm not using will over here. तो I will not go out. अगर मैं will use किया होता तो ये simple future tense बन गया होता. I am saying I won't go out if it rains. तो यहां पर कहीं पर will नहीं है, shall नहीं है, but हम future का बात कर रहे हैं. So it is used in clauses of if. So if it rains, I won't go out. Case number 2. Can I have some milk before I go to bed? मैं सोने से पहले क्या मुझे थोड़ा सा दूध मिल सकता है पीने के लिए? So when I'm asking this, so I'm using again the clause. What clause? Before. Can I have some milk before I go to bed? So before clause आ गया, simple present tense, but I'm talking about the future. मैं सोया नहीं अभी तक, मैं सोने गया नहीं, मैं दूध मांग रहा हूं before I go to sleep. So I'm also talking about the future using the clause before. Number 3, let's wait till he finishes his work. So let's wait. When I'm telling let's wait, it's not like, I'm waiting now. Let's wait means I'm talking about the future. भविष्य का बात कर रहे हैं. But क्या बोल रहे हैं? Let's wait till he finishes his work. So यहां पर till का clause आ गया, right? So till clause जब यूज हो रहा है, हम लोग present tense का बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन समझा रहे हैं फ्यूचर में होने वाला कोई इवेंट को. And last example we can take, ring me up as soon as he comes. Ring me up as soon as he comes. So it means what? वो जैसे ही आता है मुझे फोन करो. So I'm using the clause with the words or with the phrase as soon as. So ring me up as soon as he comes. So he did not come yet. फ्यूचर का बात चल रहा है, वो आने वाला है, लेकिन जैसे ही आएगा मुझे कॉल करना. तो ये फ्यूचर का बात कर रहे हैं यूजिंग सिंपल प्रेजेंट टेंस विद द क्लॉज ऑफ एज सून एज. सो ये दो केसेस क्या हुआ सिंपल प्रेजेंट टेंस का? पहला केस हुआ जब हम लोग कोई रूटीन या टाइम टेबल या प्रोग्राम का बात कर रहे हैं जो फिक्स्ड है, टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रोग्राम्स दैट हैज अ फिक्स्ड शेड्यूल और अ टाइम टेबल, we can use simple present to talk about the future. And the second one is in clauses of certain words or phrases. For example, if, unless, until, when, while, before, after, by the time and as soon as. तो easy, right? Simple present tense को future के बदले में हम लोग use कर सकते हैं यही दो condition में. So after we have seen that the simple present tense can be used to talk about the future, can we think of any other form of present tense that can be used to talk about the future as well? Yes, the present continuous tense can also be used to talk about the future. Now the question is, under which conditions or in which condition we can use the present continuous tense to talk about the future? The answer is very simple. Whenever we talk about something that we have planned to do in the future, we can use the present continuous form of the tense, right? Or present continuous tense. For example, I am going. So when I'm saying I am going, it's the present continuous tense. Now I'll add to it something that I'm planning to do in the future. I am going to Kolkata tomorrow. So when I say I am going to Kolkata tomorrow, so though I am going is the present continuous tense. Whenever I add tomorrow, going to Kolkata tomorrow, it will be giving the future intonation, right? So do you understand what I'm telling? Present continuous tense के साथ हम लोग फ्यूचर में होने वाला कोई भी चीज अगर जोड़ देते हैं तो वो प्रेजेंट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस रहेगा लेकिन बात करेगा फ्यूचर का. कुछ और एग्जांपल्स लेते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, वी आर ईटिंग, प्रेजेंट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस, राइट? वी आर ईटिंग. नाउ इफ आई ऐड टू इट वी आर ईटिंग आउट टुनाइट, तो हम लोग आज रात को बाहर खाने वाले हैं. सो व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट दैट, वी आर ईटिंग, प्रेजेंट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस, वी आर ईटिंग आउट टुनाइट. कब खाने वाले हैं? रात को. So again it is a present continuous tense talking about the future. Or let's talk about another example. Amitabh Bachchan is arriving, present continuous tense, and I can add to it, Amitabh Bachchan is arriving this evening. So whenever I add this evening, what it becomes? It becomes like we are talking about the future, but in present continuous tense form. It's very easy, right? So remember, you are advised to use the present continuous tense and not simple present tense whenever you're talking about personal arrangements. So you are advised to use present continuous tense, not simple present tense. So हमको क्या करना है? Present continuous tense use करना है जब हम लोग कोई भी personal arrangement का बात कर रहे हैं. For example, I am eating out tonight, right? So whenever I'm talking about an arrangement that I have made for myself, a personal arrangement, it can be used in form of simple, instead of simple present tense, present continuous tense, right? So after the present continuous tense, we will now take a look at the future continuous tense. So let's try to understand when to use the future continuous tense to talk about the future. So it is normally used to talk about actions which will be in progress at a time in the future. तो हम लोग फ्यूचर में कोई एक वक्त का बात बता रहे हैं और उस वक्त कुछ चीज़ चल रहा होगा. तो whenever we use in हिंदी रहा होगा, रही होगी, रहे होंगे, तो इस फॉर्म में जब हम लोग बात करते हैं हिंदी में, the same form is called future continuous tense. Now let's take an example to make things clear. The first example is, I suppose it will be raining when we start. I suppose, तो मेरा ये अंदाज़ा है. It will be raining, बारिश हो रही होगी. कब? When we start, जब हम लोग जर्नी शुरू करेंगे या फिर यात्रा का शुरू करेंगे. So when we start our journey, it will be raining. It is told in form of future continuous tense that I suppose it will be raining when we start. Now what is the rule for that? Rule is very simple. You add subject and then will be or shall be. Then V1 continuous form समझाने के लिए ing को लगाना पड़ेगा V1 के साथ and object. So subject plus will be or shall be plus V1 added to ing form and then the object. Let's take a second example. This time tomorrow I will be sitting on the Juhu beach. So what I'm talking about? I'm talking about tomorrow. And I will be sitting on the Juhu beach. Kab? Kal. So this is the future continuous tense. So kal is वक्त मैं जुहू बीच पे बैठा होऊंगा. Right? So this is how we talk about in Hindi. So this time tomorrow I will be sitting on the Juhu beach. Next one. Someone, let's say, asks you a question. Can I see you at 5 o'clock? And you answer, please don't come then. I will be watching the cricket match on TV. तो क्या मैं तुम्हें कल 5 बजे मिल सकता हूं? तो आप बोलोगे नहीं, कल मत आना, उस वक्त मैं क्रिकेट मैच देख रहा होऊंगा. So when we talk about this, that I will be watching the cricket match on TV, when? Tomorrow at 5 o'clock or today at 5 o'clock. So it's a future that we are talking about and something that is going to happen during that time in the future. तो फ्यूचर में उस वक्त कुछ चल रहा होगा, ये समझाने के लिए हम लोग फ्यूचर कंटिन्यूअस टेंस यूज करते हैं. नाउ द कंडीशन नंबर 2. The condition number 2 is to talk about actions in the future which are already planned or which are expected to happen in the normal course of things. तो कुछ ऐसा चीज़ जो ऑलरेडी प्लान हो चुका है, उसका प्लानिंग हो चुका है, एंड थिंग्स दैट हैव बीन प्लान्ड, और इन नॉर्मल कोर्स ऑफ थिंग्स वो होने वाला है. मतलब ये ऑटोमेटिकली वो हो ही जाएगा, फ्यूचर में होने वाला है, लेकिन ये होने ही वाला है, ये समझ के चलना. तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई विल बी स्टेइंग हियर टिल मंडे. सो इट इज़ अ प्लान. मैं अगले सोमवार तक यहां पर रहूंगा. सो आई विल बी स्टेइंग हियर टिल मंडे. स्टेइंग जब मैं बता रहा हूं, इट्स अ कंटिन्यूअस फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब. सो आई विल बी स्टेइंग हियर टिल मंडे. सो द सेम रूल इज एप्लीकेबल. सब्जेक्ट प्लस V1 प्लस ING प्लस ऑब्जेक्ट, राइट? नेक्स्ट एग्जाम्पल, ही विल बी मीटिंग अस नेक्स्ट वीक. So he will be meeting us next week. Again, we are talking about the future and in continuous form. Next, the courier will be coming soon. The courier will be coming soon. So when we talk about courier will be coming soon, it means that it will automatically happen in course of time. We are not talking about a specific time that it will be delivered, but we are talking about that in normal course of time, it will be happening. So the courier will be coming soon. So this is how we use the future continuous tense under two conditions. So what are the two conditions? The condition number 1 was when we talk about actions which will be in progress at a time in the future, and the second one is to talk about actions in the future which are already planned or which are expected to happen in the normal course of things. Next, we are going to talk about another very interesting form, that is the B2 form. Now, in the B2 form, we normally use when the to form to talk about official plans and arrangements. So whenever we are talking about some official plan or official arrangement, we can use the to form. The rule is very simple. You again use subject, then add to it to, and the base form of verb, that is V1, and the object. So subject plus to plus base form of the verb, that is V1 and object. Let's take a few examples. The Prime Minister is to visit America next month. See, we have not used going to over here, right? We have just used to. The Prime Minister is to visit America next month. So that is where the difference is. Instead of using the Prime Minister is going to visit, we can also use, in terms of official plans, the Prime Minister is to visit America next month. Second example, the conference is to discuss how to control the spread of coronavirus. So the conference is to discuss. So again, we are using the to form and talking about the future. So the conference is scheduled in the future. It may be tomorrow, it may be after a month. That specification is not done in the sentence, but it is clearly showing it's going to happen in the future, and what it is going to discuss, how to control the spread of coronavirus. So instead of using any other form, we use the to be form over here, or the B2 form over here, which is the conference is to discuss. Now just remember, B2 is used in a formal style, often in news reports. B is usually left out in headlines. So एग्जाम्पल लेके देखते हैं किसका मतलब क्या है. द प्राइम मिनिस्टर टू विजिट अमेरिका नेक्स्ट मंथ. नाउ यू सी हियर द प्राइम मिनिस्टर टू visit America next month. This is how the newspaper reporters, they write the headlines. So understand this form of writing of about talking about the future as well. So when we talk about the future, we should know every form that is used to talk about the future. So to form can be used in terms of official plans and arrangements. Just like I said, the Prime Minister is to visit America next month, or the Prime Minister to visit America next month. Here we have even removed the is. Is को भी हम लोग ने हटा दिया, और Prime Minister to visit America next month. So this is called the to form. So after the future continuous tense, we are going to talk about the future perfect tense, या फिर इसको हम लोग हिंदी में चुका होगा, चुकी होगी, चुके होंगे भी बोलते हैं. So when is it used? The question is when it is used. It is used to talk about actions that will be completed by a certain future time. कुछ ऐसे एक्शन जो फ्यूचर में खत्म हो चुका होगा उसके बारे में जब हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं, we use future perfect tense. Now let's take a look at the rule. The rule is the subject plus will have or shall have plus V3 form plus object. And I have already discussed earlier that there is no specific rule for converting V1 into V2 and V3. You just have to memorize it. So you need to, keep looking at more and more examples of V1, V2, V3 to understand all the forms properly and remember those. There is no specific rule. So subject plus will have, ya shall have, plus V3 plus object. Now when we are trying to make it into a negative sentence, you can just add will not have or shall not have to it. For example, subject plus will not have plus V3 plus object. Similarly, when we are trying to make into interrogative, we can make it into interrogative or question form by taking the will before the subject. So will plus subject plus have plus V3. So it's pretty confusing when we look at the rules in terms of these addition formulas. So let's take examples. So the first example is, I shall have written my exercise by then. So I, subject, shall have plus V3 is written and object is my exercise. So I shall have written my exercise. This itself is a complete sentence and we can also add to it by then or a time clause as well. So this is how we convert or we talk about in terms of future perfect tense. Now if we want to make this sentence into negative, I shall not have written my exercise by then. So I shall not have, shall और have के बीच में not बैठ जाएगा, right? So this is how we do it. Now interrogative form. Interrogative में मैंने क्या बोला कि आप will या shall को पहले लेके आ जाओ. So will I have written my exercise by then? So this is again, you take the will in the beginning of the sentence and after that you bring the subject, you can convert it into interrogative or question form. Let's take another example to make things more clear. He will have left before you go to see him. He will have left before you go to see him. इसको negative बनाइए आप, क्या होगा? He will not have left before you go to see him. Interrogative बनाइए. Will he have left before you go to see him? So these are different ways in which we can use the future perfect tense. It seems a little bit difficult for the beginners, but I'm pretty sure the more and more examples you will look at, the concepts will become clearer. Let's take a third example and then we will go to the future perfect continuous tense. So the third example will be, by the end of this month, I will have worked here for 5 years. तो by the end of this month, इस महीने के अंत तक, I will have worked here for 5 years. मैं यहाँ पर 5 साल काम कर चुका हूँगा. So I will have worked here for 5 years. मेरा ये 5 साल यहाँ पर काम करना खत्म हो चुका होगा. So when we say खत्म कर चुका होगा मैं 5 साल, we are using future perfect tense. Now let's take a look at the future perfect continuous tense. रहा होगा, रही होगी, रहे होंगे के साथ जब हम लोग टाइम ऐड कर देते हैं, it becomes future perfect continuous tense. So understand this, for actions which will be in progress over a period of time that will end in the future. So कुछ ऐसा action which will be in progress, जो चल रहा होगा and will end in the future. और कब खत्म होगा ये फ्यूचर में ही खत्म होगा. तो रहा होगा, रही होगी, रहे होंगे के साथ जब हम लोग वक्त या टाइम को ऐड करते हैं, it becomes future perfect continuous tense. Take an example. By next March, we shall have been living here for 4 years. By next March, तो अगले मार्च तक हम लोग यहाँ पर 4 साल रह चुके होंगे. So we are using clause. कितना साल? 4 साल. So the rule is subject plus will have been or shall have been plus V1 plus ing plus object, and sometimes added to it is since or for. So let's take another example. I will have been teaching for 20 years next July. So I, subject, will have been is the future perfect continuous form. Teaching, that is V1 converted into continuous form, that is V1 plus ing, and the object for 20 years. And what other things we can add? Time clause, next July. So all these things, इसमें से आपको जिस्ट क्या लेना है कि जब भी हम लोग फ्यूचर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस के बारे में बात करेंगे, विल हैव बीन टीचिंग, ये फॉर्म समझना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. विल हैव बीन, शैल हैव बीन और वर्ब के साथ आईएनजी जब आप लगा दो, इट बिकम्स फ्यूचर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस. अगेन आई एम टेलिंग यू, दिस फॉर्म इज नॉट easy to use, but more and more you read about it, you look at examples, you solve worksheets, you will be able to easily get a grip on this particular form of future tense as well. Now we will talk about shall and will. ये काफ़ी confusion रहता है बहुत लोगों के दिमाग में कि shall use कब करना है, will कब use करना है. तो I will be making a separate video altogether for shall and will, but as of now understand one thing, there are two forms of future that we can categorize it in. The first form is normal future and second form is the strong future. तो normal future कौन सा है? जो हम लोग normally future के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं वही हम लोग normal future बताएंगे. But strong future कब बताते हैं? Strong future is a future जिसके बारे में हम लोग कुछ strong emotion के साथ बात करते हैं. For example, कुछ प्रॉमिस करते हैं, कुछ कमांड करते हैं, कोई डिटर्मिनेशन है या फिर कुछ ड्यूटी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं जो फ्यूचर में हम लोग निभाने वाले हैं. तो इसमें स्ट्रॉन्ग इमोशन या फीलिंग्स अटैच्ड है. सो वी कॉल दीज केसेस और दीज फ्यूचर एग्जाम्पल्स एज स्ट्रॉन्ग फ्यूचर. सो स्ट्रॉन्ग फ्यूचर आर फ्यूचर एग्जाम्पल्स और कंडीशंस in which strong emotion or feeling is attached. Now the rule is very simple. आपको सिर्फ एक flip करना याद रखना पड़ेगा. Normal future में first person, that is I या we, shall use करता है normal future में, और second and third person will use करेगा. So you, she, it, they will use will for normal future. For example, I shall wait for you at the station. So it's just a statement. There is no emotion attached to it. I shall wait for you at the station. बहुत सिंपल सा आसान सा सेंटेंस है, को ना कोई इमोशन है ना कोई स्ट्रॉन्ग फीलिंग है. राइट? सिमिलरली, यू विल फाइंड द पर्स इन द कबर्ड. ये भी एक सेंटेंस है, इसमें कोई स्ट्रॉन्ग इमोशन अटैच नहीं है. यू विल फाइंड द पर्स इन द कबर्ड. सो दीज आर ऑल नॉर्मल future cases that we are talking about. Now let's talk about the other one, the strong future. तो हमको सिर्फ ये याद रखना है, नॉर्मल फ्यूचर में जो केस है, स्ट्रॉन्ग फ्यूचर में जस्ट उसका ऑपोजिट बन जाएगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, स्ट्रॉन्ग फ्यूचर में फर्स्ट पर्सन विल यूज विल एंड सेकेंड एंड थर्ड पर्सन उनको क्या यूज करना है? शैल. तो एक एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं. आई विल गेट एन ए ऑन दिस एग्जाम, आई प्रॉमिस. तो यहां पर बन गया इरादा मजबूत. So what I'm talking about, that I will get an A on this exam, a strong, determination, a promise. So this is where instead of using shall, we use will in case of first person. So first person में shall use होगा normal future में और will use होगा strong future में. और just opposite होगा for second and third person. For example, second and third person, you have seen, you will find the purse in the cupboard is a normal future. The moment you try to make it into a command, you can say, you shall not go out before you complete your homework. Right? So you shall not go out before you complete your homework is a command. So here we are using shall to tell it is a strong emotion that is attached with it, or it is a strong future. So it's very easy, right? So normal future के लिए first person shall और second and third person will be will, और strong future के लिए first person will be will and second and third person will be shall. So understand one more thing, that in case you do not understand whether to use will or shall, you can just play safe by using will in all sentences. तो कोई भी सेंटेंस आप ले लो और अगर वो स्टेटमेंट है उसमें आप आसानी से विल लगा सकते हो, अगर आप कंफ्यूज हो कि शैल लगाना है या विल लगाना है. इनफैक्ट अमेरिकन इंग्लिश में शैल अभी बहुत कम रह चुका है. It's not there anymore. It's not being used anymore. So American English, normally they go for will in most of the cases. But there are certain exceptions. So normally you can use will in place of shall in all statements. However, in question form, the following needs to be taken care of. जब भी आप कुछ सवाल पूछते हैं, interrogative sentence we are using, we need to understand this. We can never use will in offers or suggestions. Now look at 3 examples that I am giving. Can you get me a glass of water? So can you get me a glass of water is a request. Now in this request, if we replace can with will, does it carry some sense? So we will check. Will you get me a glass of water? Yes, makes sense. Now let's use shall and see. Shall you get me a glass of water? No, it doesn't make sense, right? So in case of requests, we have to understand we can use will. But in case of offers and suggestions, what will happen? Let's see. So let's talk about an offer. Can I get you a cup of coffee? So when I talk about can I get you a cup of coffee, it's an offer. So let's put will there as well as shall there and check. Shall I get you a cup of coffee? Yes, makes sense. Will I get you a cup of coffee? No, it doesn't make sense. So it's not used. So remember, in case of an offer, it's always shall that we use. We never use will. Similarly, for suggestion, why don't we have tandoori tonight? It's a suggestion. So let's replace shall and will and check what happens. Shall we have tandoori tonight? Yes, it makes sense. Will we have tandoori tonight? No, it is not used. So in case of offers and suggestions, just remember that we never use will. We will always use shall. But in all other cases, you can safely replace shall with will. And the other conditions we have already discussed, कि strong future में क्या करना है और normal future में क्या करना है. So that was everything about the future. So we have learned the different tenses to talk about the future, how to use those tenses, what are the conditions, what are the rules. Now it is time to apply your knowledge. Let's solve a worksheet. So what you can do is take a look at the worksheet that I will be putting on your screen right now. There are 2 options. Use the most suitable option to fill in the blank, right? And you can pause your video while you are solving the worksheet, and after you are done, you can check the answers. So let's take a look at the worksheet. Done? So let's take a look at the answers and check how many you got right. And if you scored 100%, congratulations. But in case you have missed out a few and got a few answers wrong, do not worry. You have always scope for improvement in the next time, right? So let's check the answers. So I hope you enjoyed learning the future with me, and it has comprehensively covered every aspect of the future. So different tenses, the different rules, the different examples that we have used. So if you have liked my video, do not forget to click on the like button, and do subscribe my channel to stay updated with all the videos that I have for you. In fact, from time to time, I will be conducting live classes. My live classes recordings are also there. You can go back and watch those recordings. And in the coming days, I will be posting many more such videos talking about grammar, about your career, interview skills, education as whole, spirituality aspects that you should be aware of, health aspects that the student should be aware of. So a lot of things that I will talk about in the future. So make sure that you subscribe my channel, click on the bell icon, and stay connected with me. So that's all for today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.